All right, everybody, welcome back to the Dank NASCAR download. It's your host, Dank NASCAR Memes, G4 Stemp, back at it again with episode 6, which is, personally, for me, the most highly anticipated episode I have had yet on this podcast. Today is a very, very special episode. We are going to have a guest. That's right, we're going to have a real-life NASCAR driver on the podcast. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I finally got the guts to ask the other day. I've been planning out and thinking, who should I go with? Who I have connections with? Who can I actually get to that would actually be willing to come on the podcast? I didn't really think that any Cup drivers would come on. I mean, I do have connections with Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland. I've talked to them before. Also, Josh Bilicki's now in Cup as well. So I do have contacts with several drivers that I can get a hold of, but I decided to not start off with such a big profile name in Cup. Maybe make my way up from a driver in the Truck Series or something. But yeah, so today we have for those of you who don't know, I don't really talk about the Truck Series much on this podcast. I have a driver who's my favorite Truck Series driver at the moment. He's a former ARCA champion. He's a great guy, great race car driver, extremely talented, and I figured he was the guy to ask. I mean, I've texted with him for a while now. Back in the 2021 season, we used to text every few weeks or something like that. So, yeah. Without further ado, here is our guest for today's episode. All right, so for episode 6, I want to take a big step forward in the download. We wanted to get a special guest on, and thank you so much. I got a driver on from the Truck Series here. Everybody, please welcome the driver of the 98 Toyota Tundra for Thorsport Racing, Christian Eckes. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so just backstory of how we got in touch. I think it was through Instagram DMs or something, right?
Yeah, no, I think you posted a meme about me and Ben or something like that, and I thought it was funny, so I give follow, and yeah, it's going from there. It's been pretty funny.
Yeah, I think I looked at my Instagram recs, my Instagram DMs when I first texted you and all that. It was after a Texas rec. I asked if you were good, and
yeah.
After I put a Matt Kenseth meme where you were at Matt Kenseth any pointers or something like that.
Yeah, with the Boston Bruins theme song in the background. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. So yeah, we just started texting and stuff. I guess we'll be texting every few weeks or so, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really kept in touch ever since I got to the other side of the world. Kind of reminds me of my high school relationships. All right. So there's just to start off. I'm from New York myself. I used to live in Manhattan. I still kind of do live in Manhattan. So you grew up in around upstate near Westchester, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in Middletown, New York. It's probably an hour and a half from the city.
Yeah. So I just want to know. I've never been to any local tracks. I've never seen any local tracks. How does a kid from New York end up getting involved in stock car racing and all that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you the whole story. My dad friend raced at a local track at Bethel Motor Speedway, and this was back in 2010, I think. And we started from there, and I just went to go watch him one week, and sure enough, they had the Bandolero cars there, and I was always kind of interested in racing and would want to get involved in it, but I never really took the steps to get involved in it. So, when I saw those little cars, I got pretty excited about it. We rented a car, ran okay, and then I decided to buy a car because I liked it so much, and it's just kind of blossomed from there.
So, you moved to Charlotte, right?
Yeah, I moved to Charlotte in 2016, mostly just to race late models and stuff like that. But it's kind of the mecca too.
So you raced Bandoleros in the Northeast.
Yeah, I raced Bandoleros, legend cars, no late models, but just those two in the Northeast. And then I started moving down here and running the late models, ARCA, and now the trucks.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I didn't think like you don't see people from like New York like getting started like in racing. I mean, like maybe like the Bodine family or something or Steve Park, but
Yeah,
those are, like some like only drivers I could think of. But so like
yeah.
just like driving late models in North Carolina. You mentioned you got down there, so like how did that like lead to like the ARCA deal, or do you like go to K&N and stuff, and then like who scouted you out really?
Yeah, so when I was racing late models, I was originally running for Junior Motorsports. I feel like that was just kind of my success in legend cars
Oh,
coming up.
you raced for Dale Jr.
Yeah, in 2015 and 16, I raced late model stocks for Junior Motorsports, and I feel like that just kind of rose from what I did in legend cars. And then eventually, in 2016, I won the Snowball Derby with Fury Race Cars, and that's kind of when Toyota picked me up and has kind of brought me through.
Yeah, so
Uh,
you were like one of the youngest people to like win the snowball derby, right?
yeah, I think it was me, Chase Elliott, and Eric Jones, and I was in between them as far as age or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look where Chase Elliott and Eric Jones ended up.
Yeah, exactly.
So you said like KBM probably like scouted you out like after like the snowball derby. So like that led to like your part you went part time in 2018 and 2019, right?
Yeah, pretty much. My Toyota development contract kind of put me in position with venturing motorsports, and then obviously I went to KBM for the past few years and up to Thorsport. So it's been a good partnership for sure.
Yeah, so like I did my research. I like doing I'm like a research and like history buff. So like 2018, you finished top 10 in three out of the four races you ran as a rookie. I mean you led 34 laps in your second ever race at Gateway. So what was like being a rookie? I mean I'm assuming you probably earned like a decent amount of respect out on the track.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, the best we probably ran that entire year was at Gateway. We led 34 laps. I think I won stage two. I think it's actually my only stage win. It might be my. I only got one or two of them, and that was the one that happened for sure. So yeah, no, that year was definitely a challenge. Just starting the truck series, and really every year in the truck series is a challenge, and yeah, we ran pretty good that year, and that just kind of blossomed into a couple more years too.
I mean, I've heard from like other drivers that like trucks is like a huge transition, like especially like the big hole. I feel like the biggest like thing that people have told me about is that like the like the big hole that like the trucks punch in the air, like how it's like dirty air really affects the front end of the car.
Yeah, the racing is just so much different. I mean, you go from the Arkham Menard series, which probably has anywhere from, I mean, nowadays it's like three cars that are competitive, but back then there was probably like seven or eight. You go from seven or eight cars that can win a race, and really only three of them can win. So seven or eight can compete. To 20 trucks that can compete, and 12 of them that can win. So it's just, I think the big jump of competition is probably a little bit better than like the jump of different racing. But yeah, it's pretty much everybody that's in trucks has succeeded at ARCA. So the best of the best from ARCA go from trucks, and then onward and upward. So it's definitely a task, but it's a fun challenge for sure.
So yeah, it looks like talking about you won the championship in 2019. I mean, 2019 seemed like what was probably the biggest like jump. Like I mean, I started paying attention to you in 2019. Like that was like when I started like taking notice and stuff. I mean, you had four poles in the truck series out of your eight races. You
Yeah,
had top fives in those races, and like again, Gateway was like one of your best performances of the year, probably. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
so like,
Yeah,
would
20
you
was definitely a good year. In the ARCA side of things, we didn't get started very fast, but the last seven or eight races, I think we finished first or second, three of them winning. So it was definitely a good end to the year, and it led to a championship. And yeah, KBM we had a lot of success too. I didn't really feel like I was at my peak as far as driving ability, but our trucks were really fast. Everything that kind of aligned that year aligned, and we got the owners championship, and our 51 truck, and it was a good year for
Yeah.
sure.
Kyle won like 4 or 5 races in that truck or something.
Yeah, I think so. I think he went 5 for 5. Won
Yeah,
one. I finished, I don't know, third probably a handful of times or something like that.
he's an absolute monster in trucks.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So yeah, so you raced full time for KBM in 2020. I mean, I got to watch a lot of the Truck Series races in 2020 because I don't know. I mean, I couldn't go out like partying on Friday night or anything, or just like hang out with my friends. So I was watching a lot of truck races. I mean, despite
Yeah.
despite the fact that like you didn't have any wins, which is probably one of the bigger surprises in the Truck Series, your overall performance was pretty good.
And this is in what, 2020 you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, 2020 was just a challenging year. Kind of not. I mean, obviously, I had experience. I think I had 12 starts or something up until that point. But kind of coming into that year, and the first two races we run really well. We qualified third at Daytona, we qualified fourth at Vegas, I think. We ran second up until we got put in the fence. We
I'll
had a
take your
lot of
word for it.
we had a lot of good speed. Before kind of COVID hit, and then when COVID hit, we lost practice of qualifying. I feel like that really hurt me as a driver because it really didn't give me a chance to work on the car, and I kind of like things slowed down when I'm trying to give feedback, and obviously I've gotten better at that, with having to adjust to what we have now, but I always felt like I really achieved well, and my crew chief, Rudy, always achieved well if we could really, take the time and settle down and kind of figure out what we need to do differently and what we need to do better. Kind of when COVID happened, I feel like we lost that aspect. And then, obviously, I feel like we didn't run as well as we should have. I mean, we still should have won 3 or 4 races. And, at the end of the day, those 3 or 4 races I feel like are on my shoulders because of the fact that, like Pocono, for instance, I blew a right rear tire because I drove into somebody on pit road.
Yeah, I
Michigan,
remember that.
I didn't block well enough. Kansas, I wasn't aggressive enough. Like there's 3 races right there that we should have won, and we finished second. Just little tiny things. Well, I guess no. Where else did I finish second? I remember I finished second 3 times. Oh, Texas. If I,
Texas was probably one of my like favorite races. Like you battling the boss man Kyle Busch.
yeah, I mean, I felt like we were better. I still feel like we were better. At the end of the day, I wasn't aggressive enough, and I didn't, you know, just take advantage of the opportunity. So, I look back on a lot of the opportunities that I have, and I guess that's the good and the bad thing about being part time this year or this past year. Um, was I kind of got a moment to kind of step back and see everything, and try to figure out what I did differently and what I needed to do better, and really just took a lot of ownership for the things that happened and why everything kind of fell apart at KBM. And even if there was some other things that kind of got involved, I still feel like I took that on my shoulder, and at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I move on.
Like what about like how did it go down at KBM? I mean, I'd say like after having you had a pretty solid year. I mean, I thought they would keep you for sure. I mean, I was surprised when Chandler Smith. I mean, Chandler's a great driver. Don't get me wrong, but like I was surprised when he got the call for the 18 car.
Yeah, there was a lot of outside things that happened. I don't necessarily think it's a performance thing, but in the same aspect, if I could have ran better, maybe those things that are outside factors could have opened up and could have changed. So, at the end of the day, I really only look at the things that I could control. And the fact that I didn't perform as well as I feel like I should have, and quite frankly, that they should, or they probably thought that I should have performed at. At the end of the day, that's kind of what I look at with the situation. That if I would have ran better, if I would have done things differently, then maybe the other things could have worked their way out.
Yeah. So moving on to 2021, you get the call from Thorsport. I mean, after the season you had, I mean, I'm assuming you probably wouldn't be a free agent. So
Yeah.
what were your thoughts like considering like when you were considering the job? I mean, you get a call from Thorsport after Ben Rhodes at Texas after you got hurt called all the KBM guys idiots.
Yeah, that was a weird time for sure. So even really before Texas even happened, I had made a call to because I knew I wasn't going back to KBM right after Talladega in 2020. I had just cold called a bunch of people because at that point I didn't have anybody to really sign with, and I didn't have a ride available. And it's at the last hour, so I'm going to just call and see and hope kind of. And I had a couple other deals that came up that would have been full time and I have a huge amount of respect for every single team that offered me something, and I just didn't feel like I could win as much as I did with the Thorsport opportunity. Sorry, I'm trailing off, but the Thorsport opportunity, I obviously called the general manager, and he's like, "Well, I mean, there's nothing yet, but you know, there might be," and that kind of there might be for Thorsport was something that I was willing to take a risk on, and I took that risk. I you know, really sat until midway through January and was like, oh, I guess I'm just done racing. This is it.
So you thought that like that
So,
was the end?
yeah, I mean, I had nothing lined up. I had no opportunities. I had some people that would let me drive, but there was no opportunity for me to go win, and that's what I kind of do this for. I like to compete. I like to run well. I like to be, driving for a winning organization. That's what I'm all about. Um, and really at the very last second something happened where I had the opportunity to get part-time, and I jumped at that opportunity, and I'm pretty glad that I did.
I mean, like, were you surprised that they offered a part-time ride there? I mean, Grant Enfinger, it was a surprise to pretty much everybody. I mean, he had what was possibly the best season of his career, multiple wins, an appearance in the championship four. Like when they told you that you would share it with Grant, like what were your thoughts about that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not sure what happened there. I've really only been concerned about my deal and my program and what I need to do to go win races and go compete. They just kind of told me that I'm splitting the ride with Grant. Here's my crew chief, and go make it happen. That's pretty much how it went down.
I mean, I know that Grant Enfinger like multiple times like expressed his dismay with Thorsport. Did he like take any of that anger out like on you maybe like that you were like taking some of his rides away?
No, I mean, I feel like we were kind of in the same situation. I had left KBM full time, and I felt like I deserved a full time ride, and he was, brought to a part time ride, and he felt like he deserved a full time ride. So I felt like we kind of bonded over that in a certain aspect because of the fact that, we were both in a situation that could be better, but in the same aspect, we still want to succeed. We still want to get the 98 to run as good as we can, and we both had a lot to prove. So I feel like we kind of, in a way, bonded over that, and we kind of had the same mentality of like, okay, then this is the situation we have. We need to go execute and do what we can to make it work.
So like just like more about Grant Enfinger. Sorry, it's just like a weird situation that like nobody really knows what happened. So was there like any like I don't know like air like awkwardness maybe around the team when he said screw you guys, I'm going to run a full-time season with other teams?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, he just had to um, go do what he had to do. If he felt like that opportunity was the opportunity he needed to do, then he should do it.
Yeah, so you just focus on yourself.
That's all I can do.
Yeah, so I'm assuming like Thorsport. I mean, Thorsport's like a team of like like seasoned vets. I mean, you got Johnny Sauter, who's been good in like seasons before. Almost won a championship, I believe it was 2017 and 2018 when driving for the BMS.
He won the championship in 2016. It would have been with
Yeah,
GMs.
yeah, the 21. I mean, you got Matt Crafton, who's arguably one of the greatest truck series drivers of all time. He's a three-time champion. Uh,
Yep.
they both have had a lot of experience in the series. Did they like help you grow as a driver? And like, what was like the differences they had between like other mentors, like maybe like Kyle Busch?
Yeah, I just feel like it's definitely different for me. Like growing up as a NASCAR fan, the first time I saw Kyle Busch was like, oh damn, like that's Kyle Busch, and still to this day,
Yeah,
when I see Kyle, it's kind of impressive. And sitting across the meeting room from from him and talking about the race car and having him kind of do things is still different. At the same aspect, I mean, I look across the table at Matt Crafton, and I was a race fan. I was a Truck Series fan, and he's 3-time champion. And, that was honestly, this is a fun story. I was behind him at Iowa in 2018 on pit road heading out for practice, and I saw the Menards across the back of the truck, and that really kind of like made me feel like, oh damn, I'm in the Truck Series, and that's Matt Crafton right there. And there's just little moments like that I like to fanboy about. But yeah, no, I mean honestly, they're both great teammates, and they've helped me out a lot. If there's little things here and there, and I'd say I'd probably closer to Crafton, just because of the fact that my crew chief and his crew chief worked together for so long. My crew chief was actually his truck chief forever, and we kind of do similar things, so we kind of bounce ideas off each other.
That's cool. So like, do like now that you brought it, like you're like, oh my god, it's Matt Crafton. Do rookies like go all fanboy when they meet like their highlight drivers?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like I said, I mean, with Kyle, it was kind of impressive at first. It's like, oh damn, that's Kyle Busch. Like, that's pretty cool.
Big deal, Rowdy himself. So I know like Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter both. We've seen them get heated at the track. Crafton like each one of these past couple of years. We saw Johnny Sauter get into it like Austin Hill at Iowa.
Yeah.
Like what's the mood around the shop the next day? Do they come back like all pissed and all that, or do they like come back all?
So I mean, they've been at this long enough that they know it's going to happen, and after the race, they might talk a little crap, but that's about it.
So have you dealt with any rivalries in like your racing career? Like I haven't like noticed like any like intense rivalries on the track, but
I mean, probably with Ben a little bit at the end of last year. After he wrecks me at Texas, I had made sure he didn't make it to the next round, and I'd
yeah,
probably say
you
that's
gave him the old double birds.
yeah. I don't really remember that moment, but I was not very happy.
Yeah. So, but assuming like you and Ben are teammates now, have you settled it out by now? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, every time he brings it up, I'm still like, really, man, like, why? But in the same aspect, we're kind of past that. We've worked well together as teammates, and I have a great deal of respect for what Ben does, and I feel like he has the same amount of respect for me. So it's a good working relationship for sure.
I found it funny. Like when Thorsport announced that they were switching to Toyota this past year, all I could think of was Ben was saying, "Man, all those Toyota drivers are stupid."
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how things.
Hey, you guys won a championship with Toyota, so.
That's right.
Speaking of Ben, I'm assuming you probably talked to him after the championship.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've definitely talked. We went to a wedding together not too long ago because one of our team owner got married, and we've hung out a couple times, so it's been cool.
So did you hang out with him like right after he won the race? Because we also like what happened in that presser right after the race.
Yeah, Ben is not a very good drinker by any means. I've seen him multiple times, and he cannot drink.
He said he was like from Kentucky and that like he's used to bourbon and all that.
I don't know if I buy that. Really. Yeah.
So with 2021 3-year, 2022 is only a few weeks away. I mean, we actually have the Clash start again this week, which is crazy to think about. I mean, it feels like it was New Year's like yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a few weeks away. Truck opener at Daytona is 17 days or something, 16 days.
Yep. Yeah, the 18th. So what's today? The 1st. So I guess 18 days or 17 days, whatever.
Yeah. So
coming up.
About like Daytona, like what are your thoughts about Daytona? Every driver has like a different opinion, it seems to me. Like some people love it, some people hate it, some people just are neutral about it.
Yeah, Daytona is just it's a weird place. I mean, I haven't been there in 2 years, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites. I've never finished a race there in the Truck Series. Actually, I guess I did last year, but no, 2 years ago. But I had like 3 wheels and car was destroyed, so I wouldn't even call that finishing. And the other one, I think I wrecked in stage 2 or something. So it definitely hasn't been my friend, but hopefully, if I get the opportunity to, can be this year.
So would you say like a lot of drivers say like super speedway racing is like no, so it requires some skill like it's like plate drivers, and some just say it's all just blind luck. Like what's your like opinion on that?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. You definitely have to have a certain skill to bump draft and draft and do some other things that are crazy in the pack. So there definitely is some skill to it, but as far as like going fast, I don't really feel like that has much to do with the driver.
Yeah, but speaking of 2022, Grant Enfinger has now been confirmed to be driving the 23 full time for GMS. So Thorsport hasn't like released anything. What are you going to be doing in the 98, or are you going to be in the 98?
I really not sure yet. I feel pretty comfortable about some things that are going down, and there should be announcements soon, but I have nothing really to report on yet.
Interesting, interesting. So yeah, another question about silly season in general. There's been like so much going around like Cup news and Xfinity news, some within trucks, but I feel like one story has like slipped under the radar, like regarding Toyota. JGR's 2022 lineup in the Xfinity series. I mean, Brandon Jones is coming back in the 19, I believe. I mean, he has the funding to do it, so I would assume so. We can assume that Ty Gibbs is most likely going to be going full time in the 18 of the 54 car, which still leaves 2 spots open because Daniel Hemrick is moving to Colleague Racing in the 11 car, and Harrison is going to the 21 for the Wood Brothers and Cup. Like, have you been approached about like maybe like an opportunity in those one of the seats? I know like the 54 was like split among a bunch of drivers last year. Have you had like any offers to like split the 54 car by any chance?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't really had any opportunities in Xfinity offered yet.
All right. Like, what? Who do you think will like? I don't think JGR is going to be running 2 full-time cars. Like just
I
like
don't know. Honestly, I have no idea.
I think like you might have like maybe some insider info. I mean, like you're in like the Toyota development camp, so
I wish.
yeah. I mean, hopefully you can get an Xfinity and prove yourself. That would be huge.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But if there was one track you could race at in Xfinity, what would it be?
Xfinity? Probably Homestead. It just looks pretty cool to run up against the fence, and those cars run really well up against it.
Well, yeah. Are you like a ripping the fence type of guy? Like,
I wouldn't say so, but it does look cool. So I might
yeah.
be slow, but at least I'll look cool doing it.
I mean, I've seen like Gregson's videos about like him practicing at Homestead, like just inches off the wall. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've definitely seen those too, and yeah, it's impressive.
But Homestead's in the playoffs in Cup this year. I'm excited to see that. Is it in playoffs for truck as well?
Yeah, it's our cutoff race for Phoenix.
Oh, really? Wow. All right,
Yeah.
that's gonna be big. So, well, speaking of playoffs, you got the monkey off your back with your first career win in Vegas during the playoffs last year. So, first of all, congratulations on that. I mean, I like message you like on Instagram, never have to like congratulate you in person or anything.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank
So,
you.
so now that you have your first win in the truck series, like what's your main goal for this year? You got the first win. What's the next step?
I think just do it at a consistent level and perform to our capabilities is our goal this year. I know this team can win races. I know, that I can. I know I can. It's just a matter of being able to do it and on a consistent basis and overall just perform as well as we can because I don't feel like I've done that in the past. In 2020 we'd have our good run and then we'd go and run 14th. So just kind of performing on a weekly basis and putting ourselves in positions for wins and not giving up those opportunities to come away with it is kind of my number one goal. And obviously we want to get to Phoenix and want to go race for a championship, but in the same aspect, we got to do a lot to get there. So such
You
as
gotta
Sudoku.
you gotta be somewhat consistent to get to Phoenix.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, unless you're Zane Smith and you can just win at Martinsville or something. But speaking of the Vegas win, can you like run me like what was going through your mind like in those like final couple laps? I mean, you were on old tires, Ben Rhodes with fresh rubber right behind you. Um, so like, what were you thinking like in the car as you were like going around those final corners? Everybody saw, well, on TV we could see that Ben Rhodes was like gaining really quick on you, but then that caution came out. So like, what was going through your head like before the caution?
Yeah, I mean, our truck was really good throughout the day. I mean, we started 15th and we drove up to second, throughout really the latter stage of the race. And I knew we had a good truck. It was really just about conserving it and putting ourselves in the right position. And as soon as we got in that right position, I've gotten close so many times, and that was by far the best truck we had all year. And I really just wanted to take advantage of that opportunity and not let this one slip like the other ones have. So I guess I was just really determined, focused. I really didn't think about much. I was just kind of focused at the task at hand. I wasn't really thinking about much per se,
You
but
just had like that tunnel vision.
in a way, yeah. I mean, like when you get really focused, it's just you're kind of focused on one thing and one thing only.
Like, was your spotter like telling you like 10 back, 9 back, like something like that?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, my spotter Chris Monos was just trying to get us to block the runs and block the lanes that were coming pretty hard. So yeah, he did
Like,
a good job.
like what about like when you saw those like caution lights and they told you the caution was out? Like, what did you think?
I mean, it was just cool. I really didn't think I won the race until I came across the line. That's kind of when my focus simmered down. But yeah, no, it was definitely a cool feeling.
So I mean, you mentioned like you had like really good car in Vegas. Is Vegas like one of like your favorite tracks?
I've just ran there the most. It was my fifth race there. Of whatever. I mean, like 40 some starts. So I've ran there the most and I've had the most experience at, that type of racetrack in a truck, a mile and a half. And I've kind of ran the best, and it's kind of fun with the multiple lanes that it has. So there's a lot to Vegas to like for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, what would you say your favorite track is on the Truck Series schedule?
I'd probably say Gateway. And the track hates me, but I always seem to run good there and crash. I'm 4 for 4 with DNFs, and I think I've led the most laps of my career there. So it's
Yeah. I noticed like you had led the most laps at Gateway.
yeah, it's a love hate relationship. It really is.
Yeah, but speaking of like just like tracks and schedule and stuff, what are your thoughts of some of the new tracks on the schedule, like Mid Ohio and Lucas Oil Raceway Park?
I mean, both of them are pretty close to our, kind of home base in Sandusky, Ohio. So, um, it's nice to have, that kind of mix throughout the country. And Mid Ohio is gonna be different because it's a road course, and I'm not a very good road course racer, but I've won at Lucas Oil. Well, I guess it's Indianapolis Raceway Park now.
Yeah, Indianapolis. I don't know. This is what it says on the NASCAR app when I look at this.
Yeah, but I've won there in an ARCA car, and I'm looking forward to going back there for sure.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Like, are you like more like you're probably like more of a short track racer, like growing up in like bandoleros and late models, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, but honestly, I feel like I've honestly switched to being better at the mile and a half racetracks than I have at the short tracks lately, because we don't really run a lot of short tracks, so I haven't had that kind of experience as much.
So yeah, that's crazy. So it feels like kind of weird that most people like say like they don't like the cookie cutters and stuff. I mean, all the NASCAR fans that definitely don't like the cookie cutters, but it seems like something like a driver likes that type of track. So now like you won, you're looking forward. It's year two in your new job. Do you feel like validated by the win, or do you need to like feel that you talking about like the being aggressive mentality earlier? You still feel
Yeah.
like you need to like be aggressive and prove yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like I have a lot to prove. I feel like I didn't do my job and wasted a good opportunity at KBM, honestly. And like I said, this whole thing of going part-time was really successful for me because I was able to kind of sit back and realize that I could do better, that I can do this, that I can do that. I can't control what they do. I can only control what I do. And the winning aspect kind of helped that too, kind of opened my eyes to, okay, this is how you win. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Because the technique's a lot different than what I've kind of done in years past. So, yeah, I mean, I still feel like that the chip on my shoulder is just as big as the day that, I officially got let go out of my contract at KBM. So, I want to go win. I want to go prove that I could still do this. And I want to kind of prove everybody wrong that it was right for everything that happened.
Okay, that's like the mentality, winner's mentality right there. But
right.
Yeah, that's it for questions. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. This is like a huge step. I didn't think like I'd get the podcast.
You gave me the opportunity to talk about some stuff I wanted to talk about, so it was good.
Yeah, I think I covered all the topics I wrote down. I wrote down like all this on notes. I just like spend like after like I got you to like agree on it. I just like spend like one night in bed like just thinking of
yeah. You definitely did a good job. So I appreciate you having me on for sure.
Yeah, I probably seem like all like comical and stuff on my post. I try to take the podcast a little bit like more seriously though, like more racing and stuff.
Hell, the memes are funny though.
Yeah. I've been slacking during the off season.
You got no content, man. You'll have some content here in about a week.
Yeah, well, the Clash is going to be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go yet, but we'll see.
I mean, like we haven't had like cup cars on like a track that small in like a long time.
Yeah, especially yeah.
But like racing inside the LA Coliseum, like I've seen like pictures of like them racing in the 50s or something at Soldier Field, but this is so damn cool. Like I don't know, football fan, NFL, college football, and just like it's like a historic site, just building an NASCAR track inside of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's gonna be cool. I mean, the LA Coliseum, or that's what it is. Is it the LA Coliseum?
What?
Is it called the LA Coliseum? That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, all the history of football and how it's kind of meshing together. So we'll see, but it was definitely a hell of an engineering feat to try to get a racetrack inside of a football stadium. I'll give them that.
I know, it's crazy. I can't believe they did it. When I saw that, I'm like, there's no way they're doing this.
Yeah.
The track looks amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, this might be like probably the most hyped Clash like I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the Clash was kind of getting boring there for a couple of years. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, people like always like criticized it about like being on the road course last year. I mean, but the road course Clash last year was actually really amazing. I love it.
No, it was. Yeah, the Speedway one. I mean, there's only like 3 cars at the end, and they're all beat to hell, and it'll be weird, I think, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming. I mean, I didn't think I'd get the podcast to this, but I just thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, thank you for having me on. I had a good time.
All right, awesome.
All right, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite truck series driver, Christian Eckes, on the Dank NASCAR download. It was great talking to him. Got to talk a lot about racing stuff. It went pretty serious. I know, I feel like on the podcast I'm a bit more serious than I am on social media doing all the jokes and stuff. But yeah, it's good to talk real racing and stuff. I mean, I'm not big on actually driving race cars myself, so it was interesting to see the insight from an actual driver, somebody who's somewhat local. Like he said early in the episode, about an hour and a half away from me. I grew up from an area where racing is not that popular. There's no local tracks, so yeah, it was nice to hear from somebody sort of local, and somebody that I've been talking with for a while, to talk to him in person about racing deals and all that. So yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I think it was a great episode. It went really well. What was funny, I told him the interview would probably take about like maybe 15, 20 minutes, and the recording ended up being 38 minutes long. So I went a bit over the top with my overzealously. I think that's what the word is, zealous. I don't know, but I mean might have been fanboying a little bit. But yeah, anyways, just to everybody who's been listening, everybody who's helped me make it to this point, following me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everybody who's been listening to the podcast, I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you haven't listened before and this is your first time, go check out one of the other episodes. If you want to listen to me drone on talking to myself for about maybe 45 minutes or so. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, we could have another driver on the podcast soon. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to DM me on Instagram, call me out on Twitter or something. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I could try to make things work. But in the meantime, racing is back this weekend, and just want to wish everybody in advance a happy race weekend. I cannot wait for the LA Coliseum and the Busch Light Clash. It is going to be incredible. So I'm just going to sign off here. It's been Dank NASCAR Memes, G4 Stemp, along with special guest Christian Eckes, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.